Okay, folks, we're going to be doing a lot of reading over the course of this school year to hopefully make sure that all of us are exceeding grade level by the time we get to June, no matter if we step in class or not. One way we're going to be able to improve our reading is not only by through reading, but also by answering questions. But before I put it on you to answer questions, I have to teach you what's the proper way to respond to a question about a book, a passage, a journal article that you read. So I'm going to share with you guys my screen, and I made a quick little response to text little template here that I want you to use whenever you're doing any kind of writing written response to anything that we're reading. And if you follow these steps, this will get you 90% of the way there. Later on, we might add in some more elaboration. But for this part of the school year, if you can do this, you're going to be golden for the beginning of the school year. So it says, when we are reading a passage and we have to answer a question, there are certain things that we need to include. So the first thing we need to include is the answer. Sometimes students will be asked a question and they'll go into like evidence source, but they'll never just start off by saying yes or no, I agree with this, or no, I don't agree with this, or yes, this is true, or no, this isn't true. So just remember to always start by answering the basic question that you are given. And then you're going to need a source. How do you know that, or where are you getting this information from that proves that what you're saying is actually true? If I say the moon is made of cheese, I need to have a source to back that up. And since I don't, it's probably not likely, it's probably not true. So when you are using a source, there are things you want to put inside your answer so that the person who's reading can know that you're using a legitimate source. You want to start with the phrase according to. This is going to let the reader know that, hey, you're not trying to take credit for somebody else's work. And that's something you don't want to do. That's called plagiarism. And when you get into middle school, high school, and college, that's something that can get you in a lot of trouble. You always want to give credit when you take someone else's ideas and you use them to formulate your own. So you don't just copy directly, but you're like, hey, they have some insight here that I want to borrow from to help explain something, but I want to give them credit. I want to make sure that people know that this wasn't an original idea from me, but it's something that I was influenced by. So that's why we start with that phrase, according to. Then we're going to put the name of the article or the name of the passage, the name of the book, whatever you're reading. So if you're reading the the Very Hungry Caterpillar, then that's going to be the name of the title that you put there. You're going to put the name of the author. You want to put the page number that you're reading, and then the paragraph number where that information can be found if the person who is reading it wanted to go and verify what you had written down. And let's say you're reading a paper, or you're reading a passage, and it doesn't have paragraph number. If it doesn't have one of these things, then you just skip over it and add the next thing. Let's say you're reading something, it doesn't have a page number. So you don't have to worry about the page number, but you still want to put in that paragraph number, the author, the name of the article in the passage, or the passage, and start with that phrase, according to, signified to those who are reading that you are giving credit to someone else for their awesome ideas. Okay, so make sure, as long if it's missing one or two of these things, it's not the end of the world. Just use what you have. And the last thing is evidence. Now that you said, hey, this is where I'm getting my information from, now you're going to give me that information. Okay, so we're going to try this, and we're going to start with a book that's pretty simple. So I'm going to have you go into Epic, and you're going to find a book, and it's called The Bad Seed. So I'm going to read it to you, but I want to quickly take a detour and show you how you can find this book and other books that are assigned to you as you go on. I think that when you're teaching a new skill, it's best to always start simple. So we're using a book that is at a second grade level. So when we actually are doing our class reading, we're going to be at a fifth grade level. So it's going to be a much more complicated book. But to show this skill, I thought it'd be better to use something that I know that everyone can understand. So if we go here to our login, you put in your class code, and you click on your class. All right, give me 1 second to load. when you come into Get Epic, if it's your first time logging in since I updated the book, you're going to see that book like front and center. It's going to pop up and say, hey, you got a new book. But because I have already opened up this account, it won't show me, like it won't just pop up for me. So you're going to have to do a few extra steps. You're just going to click on your name, like always. So my name is Guest Student. So I'm going to click here, and it's going to take me here. So here is where if you just opened up for the first time, the book, The Bad Seed, should just pop up for you right here. Boom, The Bad Seed. Check this out, right? And if you open this up multiple times, you won't see that. But you will see here where it says mailbox. So this is where I'm going to be sending books for you to read. So click here on the mailbox, and it says, oh, 2 for Mr. Hill, The Bad Seed, and Nick and Tesla Special Effects Spectacular. This is the actual class reading we're going to be doing together, but The Bad Seed is what we're going to be using for today. So you can click on there, and then you can use this to do some reading. So let me go back over to my side of things. So The Bad Seed. Let's go ahead and let's start reading. And then I have a question that I'm going to ask about the first quarter of the book. So the book is called The Bad Seed, and it's written by Jory John. Zoom out just a little bit so I can see a little more. Sorry, guys, gotta move something out the way so I can see a little better. There it goes. Okay, so I'm a bad seed. A bad seed. Oh yeah, it's true. The other seeds, they look at me and they say, that seed is so bad. When they think I'm not listening, they mumble. There goes a bad seed. But I can hear them. I have good hearing for a seed. How bad am I? You really want to know? Well, I never put things back where they belong. I'm late to everything. I tell long jokes with no punchlines. I never wash my hands or my feet. I lie about pointless stuff. I cut in line every time. So we're going to stop here because I have some questions for you. And the question is the seed bad? Is the seed really bad? So let's go back to our respond to text paper that's going to be attached to your Google Classroom assignment. So he said, in the beginning of the book, was the main character a bad seed? So that's our question. So at the beginning of the book, we're starting off the book, and he's telling us all these ways that he's bad, the ways that he's not being a nice seed or a nice person to people. So we have to answer our question. So I color-coded each part of the answer to match the piece that I want you to have. So the first thing is the answer. Is the main character a bad seed at the beginning? Yes, the main character was a bad seed because. So you know clearly if I think that the main character was a bad seed or not. Okay, so it says, according to The Bad Seed by Jory John, page 10. So here, I'm telling you, hey, here is the name. According to, I let you know it's from someone else. I have the name of the book they were reading. I have the author. I have the page number, but I am missing something. What am I missing? Perfect. If you said paragraph number, then you're correct. So let's go back and take a look. So we have 1, 2. So I would say this is the second paragraph because I use this here. I lie about pointless stuff. So let's go ahead and let's add that to our sentence here. Nope, wrong spot. Put it, move this over just a little bit. Paragraph 2. So we have our, now that we fixed it, right? So you want to check to make sure you have everything. And that's why we have it written up there above. So I kept that out so that we can see, hey, sometimes you're going to miss stuff and you're going to use this to make sure that you can catch that mistake. So we're going to start with according to. We have our article, passage, or book. We have the author's name. We have the page number. We have our paragraph number. And then we have our evidence. So we have to get specific information from the text that directly supports our answers. So we can't just put like, oh, people mumble, people talk about him, because that's not directly telling us and giving us direct evidence as to why he's bad. So we have to pick something that is concrete to let us know why he is a bad seed. And it says here, I cut in line every time. I lie about pointless stuff. I never wash my hands or my feet. I'm late to everything. So he's giving us all these examples of how he's bad. And I lie about pointless stuff, because usually good people try to be honest whenever they can. So if he's constantly lying about stuff, he's probably not that good of a seed. So that's why I put here, the seed often lies. And we have all three components. We have our answer, we have our source, and we have our evidence. Now, there are some commas, little things you throw in there, but right now, I'm not even concerned about that. Right now, I want to make sure we have the bare bones that we can just write this out. And if you can do this, you're going to get full credit. This is what I want. I'm less concerned about proper punctuation and proper grammar at this time, because the focus of this lesson is how do we respond to that text? And we're going to work on the grammar as we go on throughout the year. So don't even worry if you're like, oh, I think they're missing this, I think I'm missing that. As long as you have these three components, right now, you're going to have get a good score. And like I said, later on, we're going to add another piece. You're going to add some elaboration where you're going to expand on these ideas, expand on what you have here with ideas of your own. But for now, this is where we would like to start. So what you're going to do now is you're going to read the rest of the book. Like I said, it's second grade level, so it should be pretty easy for you to read through. I want you to read through the rest of the book, and I'm going to have one question that I want you to answer on the book. And that's going to be on your Get Epic account and the little quiz when you get done. So I want you to answer that question, and you have to answer it using all three of these pieces. You don't have to color code it, but I do want all three of these pieces. So when you're finished, click on that quiz and then go ahead and get started. So good luck. Remember, you have any questions, you know where to find me. I'll be right side of our classroom Zoom, waiting to help anyone who has any struggles at all.